How's it going, everybody? I'm John Baranowski, history teacher at Westfield High School, and this is my back to school night video. I'm a fourth year teacher here at Westfield. I've been teaching U.S. history, my second year in AP U.S. history, taught ninth grade World History 1 in the past, and I have just about every level of U.S. currently. I started out at Mercyhurst University. I'm a Pittsburgh native, but went to school up on Lake Erie, and went into museum studies and really got into that. I had an internship at the Steven Spielberg Film and Video Archive at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum downtown. Very rewarding work, and got to see what really history ought to be for the general public. But realized, despite even getting a master's degree in organizational leadership, a business kind of thing for nonprofits, that it was much easier to have former teachers, retired teachers volunteer at museums than to hire the fresh new guy. So I decided to reassess, and I started to become a substitute teacher here in Fairfax County. Spent 2 years doing that, including 4 months here at Westfield, actually in the math department, teaching Algebra 2 and geometry. Well, what can I say? I'm a firm believer in a well-rounded education. I went back and got my master's in the art of teaching from the University of Pittsburgh. While I was there, I had a side job working at a museum submarine, the USS Raquin, on the Ohio River in Pittsburgh, part of the Carnegie Science Centers, the Carnegie Museum system. Again, very rewarding work, a lot of fun, absolutely loved it, but really gives me a public history view of how history ought to be taught, and that has certainly been a major influence on me and what I do. About the classes, all U.S. classes this year, and we are looking at Christopher Columbus to the present. It's a lot of history to cover. It is a very quick pace, a lot quicker. Look, I'd love to spend a lot more time on a lot more things, but it is what it is. This class is all about the United States and its effect on the world. The other classes have a focus on Virginia, whereas the AP classes obviously focus on more writing and passing the AP U.S. History exam from College Board. Lots to cover. Course expectations. In a typical year, I do a lot of activities and simulations. I used to do a lot of Model UN work, and I kind of take that into the classroom of assigning historical roles and having people act in those, and just help bring history alive and give people like, okay, a face to work with a name, and it works really well. I've had a lot of students say that they remembered various people and what they thought based on those debates far easier than they would from any textbook or lesson or lecture. So it works, and I love doing it, and I try and bring that in as much as possible. In a typical year, I say that I never do the same activity twice. I can't guarantee that this year, but I'm definitely trying. I also have been putting a lot of emphasis on trying to gamify history. I've done activities where, like, okay, let's take playing Oregon Trail, and then what was the actual thing like, and trying to do projects based on that. There's all sorts of things like that. I've made choose your own adventures using Google Forms, historical ones, obviously. That, really try and get a lot of technology and a lot of how do you make history come alive. In that, I'm very old school and very new school in the class. I do talk too much. I fully admit that, but I'm a firm believer in you get the information and then you play with it. So while I do that a lot, I can also say I'm the only person in the county who has recorded virtual reality lessons. I got a 360 camera. I went to Antietam Battlefield and I recorded a lesson that with that you can use VR goggles to like you're there in order to see the battlefield, but go through the whole battle and what happened and its impact on history. Very old school, very new school, all in one. In the end, I pledged never to give busy work. I never liked it when I was a student. I could see right through that, and I don't believe in it as a teacher. So, as I say often, there is a method to my madness. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason for what I do, and because of that, my expectation coming to this is that I expect that students will put forth the effort to and participate, to actually show some effort. And if you show effort, I will do my absolute best to get you through. I've never had someone fail because they were trying and struggling and couldn't get through. So I truly believe that if you try, I respect the heck out of that, and I will do everything I can so that you succeed. If you haven't noticed, I am not using Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. I am using Google Meet. because I can see all the students at once in Google Meet. I have every square up, and I'm actually looking at a 55-inch television, so I can see them all in a reasonable size, where I'm able to see everyone and engage with everyone. And every time a microphone pops on, I see it rather than just a handful and just highlighting the speakers. I got everyone. I'm hoping that leads to greater success. It's certainly different. It has its kinks. There are certain things that are assigned. They're like, oh, use this, and well, Blackboard has that feature, but Google doesn't. And there's a lot of things in Google that I can do that Blackboard can't. So I'm hoping to use that to my advantage. Meet links are in every Schoology page. They're all the same, so that if you get there once, you should be able to get there every time. And I created a backup Google Classroom that all the students should have joined, just in case, because Google Meet is actually run through Google Classroom, and if there's a problem, you should be able to go in and grab it and be done. So you never should be locked out of that. And I've even had some messages where people will be like, hey, I can't get in, and we fix that, and we move on. Outside of synchronous time, which if you want the class schedule, I have it so in every Schoology, there's a Start Here folder that has my schedule, where you can find me, the syllabus, all sorts of information. And then for the outside synchronous time, 8:30 to 9:30 on Mondays is my scheduled office hours. I will also see anyone by appointment. There's certainly a lot of time where we can be flexible, and I will make things work. I answer emails rather quickly, though I can't guarantee I always see them right away. I definitely try and get in before the 48-hour mark. That's the FCPS regulation. I don't know that I've ever taken quite that long, but I do my best. Like I said, the syllabi, which you definitely should look, so I assigned every student to go through the syllabus, sign off that they read it, and then get one of your signatures that you read it. If you have not done that, then your student likely did not do that, or they wrote your name down and submitted it. So definitely ask them about that. The syllabi are all in the Start Here folder. There's actually a thing called Syllabus Check. Click that. It's a Google form, rather straightforward. Asynchronous time, obviously I'm going to provide lessons or activities. Your mileage may vary depending on the topic, what we're doing, and where we are in the lesson, and so on. Some of it will have basic reading, some will have questions. I've done some ed puzzles, lots of Google Forms. I'm a big fan of Google Forms. It works for me, and there will certainly be plenty of it. So there will always be something for Mondays and any other asynchronous days. Look for it. Usually it's in one of the folders from the classes, and if not, I will give an update on Schoology saying where it is. Makeup work. You absolutely should watch the recordings. Again, I talk too much. I give information so then we can play with it. And I like to do it as much more of a give and take. It's conversational. I know that it's struggle to do it this way, but with the chat and with microphones, it's actually been pretty good. So watch the recordings. If you miss, they will always be there. There's a folder in every Schoology called Class Recordings. I label them by date, and I usually try and include what the topic was. So if you're like, oh, what was that topic? You can go back and look. They're all there. Sometimes you might have to download the video in order to watch them. They're all hosted in Google Drive, but they are all there. Schoology will also there'll be a folder for every class. If you miss, you can assume to go to that folder, complete the things that are there, and that's what we did. Though I always appreciate an email, I'm happy to tell you what you missed. In the end, I will not track people down for this. The students I teach this year are all juniors. They have had plenty of years of knowing what is going to happen. Plenty of responsibility for them. They will be legal adults very soon, able to vote, able to go out into the real world. Hopefully they know what to do when they're absent from school. So I'm not going to chase people down, but if you ask, I will tell you everything you want to know about everything. Very happy to do that. Plagiarism, the one thing that I am truly strict on. Plagiarism in any form will not be accepted, and I will refer people to the honor code. I have seen me do it. So I've seen definitions as strict as any 3 consecutive words that are copied. I don't think I necessarily have to go that far. Basically, if I read a response and I'm like, and I Google it and I find it, that's plagiarism, and I turn that in every single time. So please do not plagiarize. Do not encourage plagiarism. Put things in your own words. And if you can't put things in your own words, quote it. Just put quote marks around it and say where you got it. Look, you have to do an actual MLA citation? No. But tell me where you got it, and that is good enough. Don't try and pass it off as your own work. That's my one big thing. Do your own work. It's not hard. And when you find something cite it. I don't know why that's an issue, but it is every year. And I've actually seen people kicked out of college for it, and I would rather have an incident now where we make we talk about it and maybe go through the honor code process rather than it cost you thousands of dollars later on. Communication, Schoology is updated regularly. My plan is to do a folder for every single day of class, and that folder will contain everything we're doing that day. I don't usually publish those folders until the day of class, but they're there. And if it's not, then it was simply a recording, and go watch the recording. SIS is updated often. I can't guarantee that I'm going to have grades in immediately for everything. There's awful lot of adapting and creating content for these classes. It's just taken a lot of time so far. But I do like to catch up, and I usually catch up all at once. When you see things in there that don't make sense or you don't like, I am very, very flexible on getting late work done, of turning things in, of helping things out. But you got to turn something in. I can't work with a zero, and you should turn something in no matter how late it is. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, J.E. Baranowski at fcps.edu. There will be recordings of all the classes and lectures I give. And if you're wondering, I taught about the Boston Massacre and the Boston Tea Party today. So I try and match my jersey that I wear to the content. And for any student who happens to figure that out, it's a nice big tip of the hat for them. Kudos to whoever figures it out. So lots of variation. I try to keep things interesting, and hopefully that will work out for everyone this year. Thank you for watching this video. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or just a fan, go ahead and email me.